Hey book nerds, welcome to my channel. So today you may notice we have a new filming setup. It's because I got a new bookcase. Expect this to change about a fair bit over the next month or so because it's not 100% how I want it and I haven't quite decided how I want to film. But for now it is like this. I should be doing a bookshelf tour type video some point soon. I don't know when. But today I'm talking about my magical readathon TBR. And this is going to be a pretty messy video, so I'm just going to tell you now. I didn't realise what the magical readathon was like because I didn't take part last year. So when we did the owls, I just kind of, in my typical overachiever fashion, decided to try and do as many prompts as possible. And I did look at the careers, but I wasn't really focused on the careers. I didn't realise with the NEWTS that you have 3 prompts for every single subject, which is a lot. So now I'm forced to actually make decisions on the careers because I can't just read them all as much as I would like to. So I'm kind of going to go through the prompts that I've chosen and I'm going to talk about books that might fulfill this prompt. But it's a very loose list because, to be honest, I don't know what I'm going to read, and each book could fit multiple prompts depending on how I decide I want to categorise them. But yeah, I'll just start going through it. So I have my little bullet journal spread here. It's not very impressive, but it's what I'm using. And if you can see, I've got the 3 careers highlighted here, so I'm just going to read from this. So the 3 careers I'm considering are librarian, zoologist, and mind medic. Mind medic is like the top tier one, that's the one that's got the most prompts for it. I think zoologist will be the one that I end up going with, and it's the one I've planned the most for. So we'll start with that one. So for zoologist, the first subject I need is care of magical creatures, and I need an O in this, which means I need all 3 levels. So the first level is to read a book that starts with the letter A. Thankfully for my Snakes and Ladders TBR, I have A Blade So Back by L.L. McKinney. This is a fantasy retelling of Alice in Wonderland, where it's basically Buffy meets Alice in Wonderland. I have to read this anyway, and I actually have very few books that begin with A on my TBR relative to other letters, so this will probably be the pick for that one. This level is to read a book under 300 pages. I've picked Kill River 2 for this. Again, I have to read this anyway for the Bloody Beach Readathon, and it was one of my Snakes and Ladders TBR books, so this is the sequel to Kill River. It's a horror book set at a water theme park. The final tier is to read a book with a bird on the cover. This is the one I'm struggling the most with, and I have 2 options. So the first one is The Raven King by Maggie Stiefvater. I was meant to finish this book in July, and I'm currently reading it. It is July as I'm filming, it's like the 29th I think. But I'm debating saving it until August to fulfill this prompt and just like finishing off the last few pages in August. I think you're meant to do the levels in order, but it's already too much, so I'm not doing that. But the second option is to do The Trials of Morrigan Crow, which actually got brought to my attention by Kat from Cat Talks, so thank you for that, Kat. That's a middle grade book. It's a fantasy book, quite similar to Harry Potter from what I've gathered, but obviously its own unique story, and that has got a bird on the cover. Middle grade, super easy for me to speed through, so that's another potential choice. There are some other ones, but they're all really hefty books, so I'd rather avoid them if I can. The next subject I need to be a zoologist is charms, and I need an E in this, so I need 2 levels. The first prompt for the charms is book with a gorgeous cover. I have picked Once Upon a Rainbow tentatively for this prompt. It obviously has an absolutely beautiful cover. This is quite long, but again I have to read it anyway for my Snakes and Ladders TBR, and this is a collection of fairy stories told to be queer. The second prompt for charms is to read a graphic novel. I haven't set a specific one for this. I own several Batman graphic novels, and I also own Watchmen, and a couple of other things, but I might buy one of the 2 or 3 graphic novels that are on my Goodreads TBR that I haven't read yet, depending on how I feel money-wise and whether I can be bothered to dig out the old Batman graphic novels. And the final prompt to be a zoologist is herbology, and I think you need an E. Yes, you need an E in that. And the first prompt for herbology is to listen to an audiobook. I have absolutely hundreds of audiobooks to choose from. I am definitely going to listen to the audiobook of Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, so that's a potential choice for this. But if you haven't watched my audiobook haul, I did an audiobook haul recently, and you can see just how many audiobooks I have to choose from. So again, it's not a specific set book for this prompt, but I have a lot of choice. And the final other prompt for herbology is to read a book between 350 and 390 pages. This is actually the one I'm struggling the most with. I have a vague idea of a couple of books, but again, all the books that I have kind of considered reading in August, none of them fit that length, or if they do, they're crucial to another prompt, so I'm going to be winging it on this one as well. So that's the career I think I am definitely going to focus on. The other careers I'll go over very briefly. So librarian, I need a O in ancient runes, an E in defence against the dark arts, and an E in history of magic. So the only prompt that I have considered for the librarian career so far is the ancient runes. So the first prompt for that is to read a book recommended by a friend. I'm taking part in Thrillerathon, and I'm going to read Sleep by C.L. Taylor for Thrillerathon, and that's one of the hosts' picks. It's Nicole's pick, who is one of my friends, I hope. So that could fulfill that prompt. I will be doing a separate Thrillerathon TBR later in the month for Thrillerathon. And for Defence Against the Dark Arts, the first level of that is to read a book that is black under the dust jacket. I've recently acquired both The Favourite Sister by Jessica Knoll and All the Beautiful Lies by Peter Swanson in hardback format, and both of those are black under the dust jacket. And then the final other career is the Mind Medic one. So for that I need an O in Charms, and I've already gone over the Charms prompts, an O in Defence Against the Dark Arts, an E in Muggle Studies, an E in Potions, and an E in Transfiguration. So the prompts for Mind Medic that I haven't gone over already. For the Muggle Studies, the first one is to read a book with a photo element on the cover. I haven't assigned a specific book for this, but I think most of the contemporaries on my TBR fulfill this. And then the second prompt is to read a book set in the real world, which again, most contemporaries will cover. The one I've particularly chosen for this is Hello, Goodbye and Everything in Between by Jennifer E. Smith. This is a contemporary book about this couple who are just about to go off to college, and they spend kind of 24 hours together going over their relationship and trying to decide whether or not they should break up before they go to college, or if they should try and do a long distance relationship. This has had really good reviews, and I just think it sounds really interesting, and it's my kind of contemporary. So the next subject for my medic is Potions. The first prompt for that is to read your friend's favourite book. Again, Sleep could work for this. It's not technically Nicole's favourite book, but it's her favourite thriller for that Thrillerathon prompt, so I'm kind of bending the rules a little bit, and I'm just going to count Sleep as a potential candidate for that. If not, there are loads of other books I can try and take off my Twitter friends' TBRs. The second prompt for Potions is to read a book that has your house's colours on the cover. I am a Hufflepuff. Technically I'm a Huffleclaw, but I identify more with Hufflepuff, and I have the perfect book for this, which is The Flower Girls by Alice Clarke-Platts. I think this might be on my Thrillerathon TBR as well. This is a thriller based around a group of girls, and one of them went missing when they were children, and now the other ones have grown up, and it's kind of that sort of thriller where it's reflecting on what happened in their childhood and why one of their friends went missing or was murdered. And the final prompt for Mind Medic is Transfiguration. So the first prompt for Transfiguration is to read a queer book. Once Upon a Rainbow could count for this, and I'm also going to read I'm a Gay Wizard by V.S. Santoni. This is essentially like a gay Harry Potter, I think. I talked about it in my Snakes and Ladders TBR, so I have to read it for that, so that could be a queer book that counts for that. The second prompt for Transfiguration is to read a book that is not the first in the series. Again, Harry Potter, Goblet of Fire, this could count. I also want to read Please Send Help by Gaby, Dunn and Alison Raskin. This is a sequel to a contemporary book I read in July, which I should be talking about in my July wrap-up. Actually, I think I talked about it in my mid-month wrap-up. And this is basically two friends who communicate entirely through emails and instant messaging, and the story is told that way, and it's just a contemporary about their lives and their friendship, and they've gone off to different colleges. So yeah, that is all of the things that I'm planning to read for the Magical Readathon currently. I apologise, this video has been a complete mess, as I knew it would be, but there's just so many different subjects and so many potential things that I could read, but hopefully I have a better idea of what I'm aiming for, and the wrap-up will be a lot smoother because I'll actually be able to assign them properly to each of the categories. But yeah, do let me know if you're taking part in Magical Readathon, let me know what careers you're aiming for, let me know if you're being a Hermione about the whole thing, if you're being like Ron and not really fussed about what subjects you're aiming for. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, it helps me out massively, and I hope to see you next time.